We have a motion on the table to, welcome. We have a motion on the table to approve resolution number 2021-0801 with the condition that we have our attorney style a letter to LNB or the engineering firm involved with this, requesting some consideration. Simply that is the condition of the motion. We have a second by Councilman Gondeta. Is there any other discussion?
I just want to make a comment.
There's a comment.
I agree. I mean, I wasn't very familiar with the project going on and the firm itself, but, you know, just hearing everything, of course, it's displeasing. And I agree with Councilman Hernandez as well. You know, that, you know, it's really hard for a city employee, and I'm assuming, I'm not gonna question Mr. Gondeta's, Hector Gondeta's reputation or anything like that, but, you know, sometimes, you know, following up a scope of work, it's not in his line of work, but just by hearing him talk, I would say that as Councilwoman Talamantes say, follow up is essential, you know, on our part at least, you know, because I mean we did hinder the, you know, the neighborhood or, you know, the citizens of that general area for months, you know, at a time, and then for them not to do that kind of work, you know. So, but to do it, yes, we need to do it. You know, if it's initially should have cost us $60,000, it's going to cost them an additional $22,000. But, you know, I just don't want it to affect any future grants, as they said as well. You know, so yes, we need to move on, you know, and make sure that our attorney does draw that letter as well, which everything was said, you know. So I just want to make sure that it was.
Can I say something?
Yes, sir.
Just to clarify, I can verify that line was improved, and then there was an inspector from the city side on site. Mr. Conrad Banda was the inspector for the city. So as far, like Ms. Councilwoman Hernandez said, whether it was, did it even go on the ground? Yes, it did. It did go on there, the improved one. And you questioned the fact whether there was an inspector from the city. There was. Conrad Banda was the superintendent at the time, and he was the inspector for that line when it went on. But just to clarify.
Nothing after 2018, 2017, right?
2017, I believe, is
Yeah.
went in.
That's the one that went through the last couple of years.
It's about 5 or 6 years old, I think, that line that's in there right now.
Okay.
All right, thank you, council. If there's no other questions, we've got a motion and a second. I'll call for a vote. I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
I abstain since I wasn't here for the conversation.
There is, in favor is Councilman Gondeta, Councilwoman Talamantes, Councilman Hernandez, Councilwoman Trevino, and Councilwoman Hernandez. Abstaining is Councilman Leal. For the record, Councilman Leal joined us at 8:03 p.m. Welcome. Okay, very good. Thank you. Now moving on to item 6E. Discussion and action to the conduct council meetings using Zoom. This is an action item. Folks, it is a...
Maybe go back to the one resolution.
Okay, excuse me. Okay, so sister resolution to 2021-0801 is 2021-0802, which is the, I believe that's the additional fee of roughly $8,000 to $10,000. So would someone care to make a motion as a sister motion to 0801? This is the same resolution that we're, that piggybacks on the previous resolution.
So this is part of the 20TS?
Yes.
Okay. I move to approve resolution number 2021-08-02.
Under the same conditions that the letter goes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Same motion by Councilman Hernandez as 2021-0801 is in place for 2021-0802. There's a motion. May I have a second? There's a second by Councilman Gondeta. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye, please.
Aye.
Motion,
I'm in the same boat.
okay. Vote goes the same way as 202108. Owen, you vote in favor?
In favor.
Yes. The vote goes in favor. Motion passes as recorded. All right, now moving on to item 6E, discussion and action to conduct a council meeting using Zoom. Council, as per our decorum policy, the council meeting is governed by the mayor. We do have a decorum policy. It is, as I expressed, I really appreciate people's presence, being here. I know coming out of a pandemic, the laws were changed to allow Zoom meeting to qualify as in person. I prefer that we meet in person. I think it's much more professional, and it gives a good example to the employees that have to show up every day. That being said, it was never my intent, if someone is sick or has a dire family emergency, that would not suffice. But anyway, that is the reasoning behind my desire not to meet in Zoom. Now, I think we're all aware that in the beginning of September, the legality, I guess, of Zoom meeting is going away, as per an order by the governor. Should that come back, of course, we will honor that. But according to the decorum policy, council has the authority to decide should you not want to do that. So put that on as an action item. If there's any discussion one way or the other, be welcome to hear that. But that is the reason that I prefer everybody come in person. It's just easier, better, from my opinion. But anyway, it's a democracy, so you guys are free to say and vote how you feel.
Mayor, I'd like to open this up for discussion. I'd like to make a motion to open up for discussion.
Well, if you'd like to, we don't need to open it up. We don't need to make a motion or a second. The floor is open. If you'd like to make a motion to approve one way or the other, you can, or you can discuss. Would you care for the floor?
I mean, personally, I've had COVID, but I think that we should give the opportunity to each and every one of us here, that if we do feel ill or if we do have symptoms, that we should have the COVID there already available. Not only that, but I think Zoom is very great because the community can also get on there and view the meetings and not have to come into the council chamber here. So I personally think that we should do it whether we're going to allow council members to log on to Zoom or not, just so the community have the access to actually view what we're discussing and not have to come out here. I think it's a good PR, personally, for the community, but also in turn, I mean, I had COVID, but I want to respect someone else's comfort, that if they feel that COVID can affect them, because we know it can affect different people in different ways, that they should have the option to get onto Zoom. That's my personal opinion. You and I probably have the same views, but I think others might have different views, and it's something that I think that we should be able to respect others. My opinion.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Councilman Leal. Councilman Hernandez.
Yes, Mayor, you mentioned that we were over the pandemic, is that what you said?
I'm sorry?
Did you mention that we were over the pandemic as we approach the?
No, I said that in September, the ruling about Zoom meetings being allowable as being present is no longer going to be,
It expires on.
yeah, is no longer going to be allowable.
So currently, we can still have Zoom meetings, is that correct?
No,
My
no.
understanding is,
Yeah,
Bob, correct us if we're wrong, Zoom meetings, per the governor's orders in September is.
Well, we're not in September yet.
Yeah.
Right.
Currently, we can have Zoom meetings.
Yes, that's correct. That is correct.
All right.
They were suspended at the request of the Attorney General. The suspension was lifted as of September 1. Of course, that's all subject to change, but presently, as far as I know, the suspension as it relates to being able to conduct Zoom meetings will still be going on for almost another month.
Yeah. So, and we had tried to put this on in June and extended it. So anyway, this is just so you guys get a chance to say what's on your mind. Anybody else?
Real quick, I mean, you know, if you've been watching the news, I mean, the virus, cases are coming back. And they're spreading pretty quick. I mean, that's all over the news, right? So I think if we still have an opportunity to go, Zoom, I think we should take that opportunity now. We don't know how it's gonna change in a month. You know, if it gets worse, we may have to go to Zoom full time. But, I'm for, going Zoom right now, till the end of the month anyway.
All right, is there anybody else that would like the floor?
You know, if there's no further questions, I'd like to take action to conduct council meetings using the Zoom.
Okay, there's a motion. Do I have a second?
May I, make a comment, before we go on second?
I think what we're supposed to do is take a motion, a second, and then open up
Okay.
for questions.
That work.
Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second. Okay, a motion by Councilwoman Hernandez to allow Zoom meetings. There is a second by Councilman Hernandez. The floor is open for questions. Councilman Leal.
The only comment I'd like to make is just make sure that we all, if we do go Zoom, or whoever is on Zoom, to respect the floor and make sure that the background noise, because I know previously we had a lot of issues with background noise and stuff like that. Just kind of, if you are on Zoom, just kind of respect it and put yourself on mute. I understand people have little ones, but try just to put it on mute or just pay mind of what's going on.
Okay. And two, according to, certainly I understand the motion and the second that's on the floor, but this will be good for the month of August, and then it won't be applicable anymore. Bobby, am I correct in that?
Yes,
And unless, of course, the governor changes it.
exactly, until September 1, or unless the governor changes things.
Okay, very good. All right, is there anybody else that would like to comment?
Mayor, may I ask Fred something here? Fred, is it too much trouble, even though it expires on September 1st, to continue to give the option to the community to log on to Zoom so they could view the meetings? Is it too much of a workload on Crystal, or is it something that we could continue doing just so the community has access to view those meetings?
You view it, I can't think of a reason why. I don't think it's an issue for Zoom, for them to we actually are.
Aren't our meetings live right now?
No.
No, not via, no, because they're not via Zoom anymore.
I have a comment too.
Okay, well, we've got a motion and a second, and we can, let's take action on this. We can make just a few brief comments after that. So there is a motion to allow Zoom meetings, a second. Is there any discussion regarding this? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All,
I just wanted to ask, so
There is-
we're
there is a-
voting so that we can just have Zoom?
yes, for the month of
So-
August.
Or come here like we did before?
You have the option, you're
You
still coming in.
have the option.
Yeah,
Oh, we still have the option? Oh,
Yes,
okay.
yes. You may come in person, or you may come in Zoom, and then Crystal can coordinate that again for the month of August. So that is the motion on the floor. We have a motion and a second made. And who wants to vote in favor of the motion, which is to allow Zoom for August?
Aye.
Oh, you need a vote?
Yeah, okay, it is unanimous. You made Zoom meeting for the month of August, the Democracy at Work. Okay, just real quick, any other questions? There was a question, are we live now? And the answer is no. But Councilman Leal asked if we could make it where basically it's live, Zoom or Facebook or whatever. And so the answer is, Fred?
Yeah, we could still do Zoom, and actually, we actually have another platform that's gonna allow us to do that from here on. But we've got to get to the work and get it going. It's software, agenda software that we need to make work for us that we haven't got on yet.
All right, very good discussion. Thank you, council. Moving on now to 6F, discuss and consider the proposed annual appropriation budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1st, 2021 and ending September 30th, 2022, as submitted by City Manager, Finance Director, and administrative staff. You should have a copy of your budget, and we'll turn the floor over to Fred and Santos.
Mayor and council, in your budget, and this should be a discussion as far as consideration tonight. Again, because I do want to tie up some loose ends. I say loose ends, I know there's going to be some discussion on some items for sure. but nonetheless, I'll go over some things. I have just a small presentation to just kind of give us an idea. Let me see if I can get this to work here. Somebody. This is a recap of events, and some of these dates, I think I'm pretty accurate, I'm pretty close, but these are some of the discussions we've had regarding the budget. As you council's aware, June 29th, you had a preliminary budget submitted to the council. The thing that we left out of that, council, is the additional personnel. The estimated revenue assumptions were used utilizing historical information, and we didn't calculate any new additional property tax revenues for that. We've had budget workshops, as you can see the dates there, and presentations by different staff. Our council retreat was held on July the 10th. And that was to discuss the city vision and strategic planning. And again, where we are now is there at the very bottom, August 3rd, to discuss the proposed budget, which this includes proposed revenues, additional personnel, and proposed utility rate increases. So that's what you find, and that's what you'll find in your budget. As far as the timeline and where we need to go here, and this is kind of something that we still need to discuss based on the discussions we have tonight. But if we do, if the consideration and our recommendation is to increase property taxes, we do have to have public hearings to address that increase. And that public hearing for right now, we're looking at potentially August the 24th. The second public hearing would be September the 7th. That would include also a public hearing to discuss the budget, and then the adoption of the budget and the tax rate on September 14th, 2021. For our purposes, again, the budget should be approved by September 30th. We should have public hearings required if the proposed tax rate exceeds the no new revenue tax rate. This used to be called the effective rate, so it's a little confusing to me because I'm used to certain names of tax rates, and this no new revenue tax rate is just different for me. But nonetheless, it's what was the effective tax rate. So you have effective tax rate, your rollback tax rate, which is now your I'm trying to think of all the voter approval tax rate. Now I'm trying to get all this stuff straightened out. So the key budget decisions, and I know there's plenty, and I'm not going to go into the entire agenda, but I will address some things. The proposed budget does have a tax rate increase of about 8 cents. Now in looking at that, if you look at the budget, and particularly the tax rate, if you remember last year we had a tax rate decrease of about 2.5 cents. So the tax rate was at 86 cents. If we just have no additional revenue, the tax rate's still going to be about 91 cents is what we're projecting. And the reason for that is because, again, we've lost value. We lost about, I think it's around $17 million in value this year. I think every taxing entity is having that issue. Some are losing within a lot more millions than we are, but the values have gone down as far as what the tax assessor, the appraiser has, the information they've given us, and those are the certified rolls. We are looking on that end, if we increase the tax rate to what's being proposed, the additional increase of revenue is about $114,000. That's also in your budget. You have a 2-year, we'd be in the year 2 of our utility rate increase. That's also included in the budget. Yes,
Councilman Hernandez.
Can I stop real quick, Fred? What is the taxable amount that the president is?
It is, I believe it's here in your packet, it's $317 million. So let me make sure, I believe it's in your packet here. Last year it was $330 million. So it's, let me make sure, because I know it's in here. Yes, it's on page, right in the tab where you have your tax notice and rate schedule. You'll see the values, it's about $16 million. It went from
2020 values were 33 million of assessed value. This year it's 317 million. So you have, again, a decrease of values of about $16 million. I do want to point out one other thing to the council is on the actual structure of the tax rate, which is the general fund and interest in sinking. The interest in sinking is to pay your debt service. And as I mentioned there in the presentation, this year alone, we have about over $1.9 million